It felt like it gave context to my entire life. Like a new context to my entire, being and existence, and that's why even though, like, side hug, I can't think of a full-on hug that did that for me.
Can you tell me one of the most memorable or meaningful hugs that you've ever had in your entire life? This is Good Hugs, and today's episode revolves around parents. Families can be complicated, especially if you're adopted. Let's hear from Liddy.
I'd spent several years trying to find my birth parents after I turned 18. I'm adopted. I was able to find my birth mother through means that I probably should not disclose here. But I was 19 years old, and I had just gotten back from the hospital a couple months before, and they told me that they delete all birth records after 17 years. So I was far too late to get anything from the hospital. My mom was not very cooperative. She was like, "Why do you want to know? Like, you know everything you need to know." So I finally just went on my own and did it. And I originally was like, "Hey, I'm going to leave a note at her house. Just see what happens." I get a call the next day. It's like, "Oh, hey, I got this note." It's in Spanish, by the way, because I left it in Spanish. I figured she might only speak Spanish from what I knew. And she's like, "Hey, I think I know who you are." Or no, excuse me. I don't think I'm who you're looking for. I have 3 sons and 1 daughter. I said, "Oh, okay. Well, thanks anyway." She calls back a couple minutes later and she's like, "Actually, I am who you're looking for." And the floor fell out beneath me. So we had made plans to finally meet each other. And she invites me over to cooks this big meal for me. She lives in like a 1-bedroom back house and has 3 sons and a daughter, including me and my 2 brothers. So there's 7 of us total. And she opens the door, and the first thing she says to me is, "You look just like your father." And then she gives me a hug. So that's probably my most memorable hug.
Wow. I have 2 follow-up questions that I ask everyone.
Okay.
How would you physically describe the hug, emotions aside?
Physically,
Was it soft, strong, sweaty, swaddly? How would you physically describe the
it was a strong hug. It was like a surreal strong hug. And it was like the hug was so unimportant. I don't know how to explain it. The hug at that moment was just so unimportant in the scheme of things. And I love hugs. But there was just so many other things to take in that I think it was like hearing, you look just like your father, hearing, just being in this like tiny house and like immediately wondering what my life was going to be like. The hug was just like the transaction, it was part of the deal. It was like probably the least emotional, but in a different way that I think
Really?
I hug now. I think hugs to me are very special, and I like physical contact with people. So hugs often say a lot about a person, and I think that it said a lot about her too.
And the final question I ask everyone is, if you had a file cabinet and you had to open up that file cabinet and there's a bunch of folders and they have just a little tab on them, you can only write 1 or 2 words, and you had to file this hug into a folder, what would be written on that tab?
It's a really good question. I think the one word would be, give me a minute. Are you going to edit this? Okay.
Take as much time as you need.
Okay. Finally.
Thank you for sharing this story with me. Would you like a hug?
Yes. Let's hug it out.
Thank you, Liddy. Family is complicated. Whether you're adopted or you're estranged, let's hear from Gladys.
This is Gladys.
Gladys, I'm going to ask you one question. It has no wrong answer. Would you care to share with me one of the most memorable or meaningful hugs of your entire life?
Yeah, I would say about a year or so ago, it would be with my mom, who I have a very complicated relationship with. And at that point, previously, it was almost 2 years that I haven't seen her due to unfortunate circumstances. I brought a friend along with me to like meet up with her for the first time post 2 years. It was very odd because one thing that makes my relationship with my mother very complicated is that she's someone that doesn't really ask me any questions about my life. And that's kind of why I wanted another person there, because I'm like, hey, I feel kind of crazy. Like, is this happening? And so despite the fact that I haven't seen her for 2 years, it was exactly the same in that regard. But as we were leaving, I remember the hug she gave me, because the way she squeezed me so tight, it was like jarring. And I was to the point where like I could feel that, like, despite the gap between us, despite my very complicated feelings towards her and our relationship, that there was a love that kind of like permeated there. Like, there's care there, even if she doesn't know how to express it. And I remember walking away being like, what the hell? And yeah.
Wow, that was beautiful. How would you physically describe the hug, emotions aside?
Firm and swaddly.
If you had a file cabinet and you open up that file cabinet and there's a bunch of folders, they have little tabs on them. You can only write 1 or 2 words on those tabs. What would you write on this tab if you had to file this hug into a folder?
Okay, 1 to 2 words. I'll just do one. Reunion.
Thank you for sharing this story with me. Would you like a hug?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate
It's a
you.
beautiful project.
Thank you, Gladys. Things are complicated. Estrangement in family, unfortunately, is a common thing. Estrangement can happen in many different ways, even if one of your family members is stranded in a war zone. Let's hear from Leo.
I mean, recently my mom was in Russia. She couldn't get back because all of the Ukrainian drones were retaliating against Russia for its attack on that country. And so even though I'm on Ukraine's side, it was really stressful to see my mom at the airport. So I was just hung up and not being able to get back to America. So it was a real relief to hug her when she came back. I remember an anecdote with her. One time we were in Czechia, which was the Czech Republic back then, and there was a bomb threat, and she just told me to like stay calm when like the rest of the plane was freaking out. So when I was worrying for her, I just kind of held on to that memory and like thought about what she would do if she was in this position. And I'm glad I was able to keep my cool like in that time, because it was a stressful thing. I catastrophized in my head a lot about what was going to happen to her as she was flying out of Russia while I was getting attacked by drones. Yeah, that's about it. That's the most memorable hug I've had. Yeah.
Wow. So 2 quick follow-up questions that I ask everyone. How would you physically describe the hug, emotions aside?
Oh, I think it was mostly emotional for me. Like when I hugged her recently, it wasn't, like it's how you would hug your mother. It was just like a tight embrace. It was really, really good to see her. I didn't like pick her up or anything. I just like straight up hugged her. Yeah, that's how I'd describe it.
And finally, if you had a file cabinet and you had to open up that file cabinet, there's a bunch of folders and they have little tabs on all the folders, and you can only write 1 or 2 words. What would be written on the file that you had to file this hug into?
I'd say welcome back.
Thank you for sharing your story with
Yeah,
me.
thank you for interviewing me.
Again, thank you for sharing that story with us, Leo. I think these stories represent the beautiful complication that exists in all of our lives. Just like the beautifully complicated story of Ben.
I would say my name is Ben, and I won't give the last name because I don't know what the question is yet. I am a comedian and a high school baseball coach.
Ben, I'm going to ask you one question. It has no wrong answer. Would you care to share with me one of the most memorable or meaningful hugs that you've ever had in your entire life?
Oh, that's tough. Most memorable? Honestly, I think it wasn't necessarily like a full-on hug, but it was like an arm grab and an embrace. I met my dad was adopted, and I met his birth mother for the first time on her 86th or 87th birthday. And I'm overwhelmed by all this new family. She's such a cool lady. She lived independently. She was an artist. She was very forward thinking for our day and her day. And she catches me going by to get a beer. I look a lot like my dad. I have the same color of eyes. And she grabs me by my arm and
Really?
she says, Ben, all of my friends are dead. The only reason I'm still alive is to know you guys. And it was more the words than the embrace, but I'm counting it because I can't think of a hug that meant more to me than that. And even though it was more of an arm grab and like a side hug, the context is what made it meaningful.
Wow, that was awesome. I've gotten a number of side hug answers, and a side hug counts. Do you think a side hug counts as a hug?
I also do, because the other thing I will say about hugs is I like to go for a high five if I'm not sure what people want. Sometimes I want a high five and not a hug.
Mhm.
And sometimes a side hug is the perfect amount of hug.
How would you physically describe how this hug felt, emotions aside?
It felt like it gave context to my entire life. Like a new context to my entire being in existence. And that's why, even though like side hug, I can't think of a full on hug that did that for me.
Would you care to elaborate a little bit more on that?
Okay, so part of the thing about having the same color of eyes as my father, my my grandmother gave my dad up for adoption because she was already raising a 2-year-old who had brown eyes and had a very similar like stayed with Eleanor, my birth grandmother, had kind of the opposite life to my father. My father had blue eyes. When they first reconnected on the phone, that was her first question because she had blue eyes and she wanted to have a blue-eyed son for whatever reason. And she said that she never looked at his eyes because she knew that she had to give him up. She knew it was the best thing for him and his brother. Because while she was pregnant with my dad, her husband got arrested for armed robbery. So she had to keep raising the 2-year-old by herself. Couldn't raise the second one. But she told I think that if she looked at my dad's blue eyes, don't think she would have been able to give him up for adoption. And I think seeing me, she was seeing a younger version of my dad that she didn't have a chance to meet, and that's why it was so important for her to give me a hug in that moment and talk to me in that moment.
That is one of the most fascinating answers I've gotten. So she specifically did not look at the color of the eyes.
I don't think she looked at all, because she told my dad when they reconnected. She said that she knew that she was giving him up through a closed adoption to a family that would care for him, and that he would be cared for, and that she knew that she couldn't give away the 2-year-old that she had already raised for 2 years. That's impossible. That's heartbreaking. So the easiest thing for her to do, for them to both have the best life possible under the circumstance, was to let my father go and to raise the 2-year-old. And the other incredible thing about this story is that she told my dad when they reconnected that she knew that she was doing the best thing she could do for him under the circumstance, and she didn't want to give him up, but she never worried about him being all right because she knew that a family was going to love him and take care of him, and that the only time she ever worried about him was when he was draft eligible and the Vietnam War was happening. And my dad lucked out, enrolled in the Air Force in midnight, avoided the draft, did 2 years, Veterans Against the War, and survived that. But she said that was the only time that she really worried about him in the world because of all the kids his age coming back from the war in bags, and she never knew where he was in that moment.
Ben, that is a beautiful story.
It's honestly the coolest story I have in my family and in my life, and it's not funny at all, so I never get a chance to use it in stand-up. So why not put it down here?
Well, this is the place, Ben.
Also, another thing that's an amazing, my dad's 80th birthday party is coming up. It's a surprise. So good thing I didn't say my last name. I am doing stand-up at his birthday party, and I'm telling stories about how much he means to me for family and friends. And it's gonna be really. And my mom strategically asked me to do it on Mother's Day when he wasn't around, when she knew I couldn't say no.
That's so scary. That's so scary.
Oh, because it's a scare, especially as a comic, like being sincere in front of family and friends. Yikes! But also, I've really leaned into it. I'm really grateful for the opportunity to share my memories on a very important occasion, because I'm very lucky to have the family that I have and the family support that I have.
You do sound very lucky, Ben. Thank you for sharing your story with me.
Thank you for asking me, Josh. I feel great to share it.
Would you like a hug?
I would love a hug, Josh.
Thank you, Ben. That was an awesome story. As we wrap up this episode, there's a couple things I need to highlight. One of them being, I ask everyone the question, can you describe the hug, emotions aside? No one ever describes the hug unemotionally. Is it impossible? Is it wrong to answer that question with emotion? I don't think so. At least I don't want to think so. Was Ben's answer awesome? Yes. Was Liddy's answer awesome? Yes. Was Gladys's answer awesome? Yes. Was Leo's answer awesome? Yes. You listening to this, are you awesome? Yes. Thank you for listening. My name is Josh Holub. This is Good Hugs. You can follow us on any and all streaming platforms. The rollout will begin very soon on this project. Please like, subscribe, share, follow, tell a friend. And hit that little button that looks like a bell on the top of your phone or your computer. Smash that bell. We can be reached at goodhugspodcast@gmail.com. I hope by listening to this, it feels like a hug. My name is Josh Holub. This is Good Hugs, and thank you for listening.